Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our respective lecturer Dr. NURNADHIA binti Noordin. We are from class Macroeconomics AFT1093/L2 and we are from group 6. In this presentation, we will talk about the effects of pandemic COVID-19 on economy in China. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is NURNADHIA binti AZIPAH, my matric number A20A2234. I will talk about introduction. China is the most populous country in the entire world. It has a continuous culture that dates back nearly 4,000 years and it is responsible for many of the modern world's foundations. China reorganized its economy along partly capitalist lines to become one of the world's fastest growing, as well as its larger exporter. China is now a big global investor and its foreign and defense policy are becoming more prosperous. In China, the COVID-19 pandemic occurred immediately before the Spring Festival, the world's largest population movement. The COVID-19 pandemic has rushed through China and the world. China was the first country to experience an epidemic of the disease. China was the first to enact harsh measures in response, including lockdowns and face mask mandates. COVID-19 has a huge influence on China business and sector because it is home to over 18 million small and medium-sized firms that have been badly impacted by the fatal outbreak. It was reported to the local government for the first time on 27 December 2019 and published on 31 December 2019. On January 8, 2020, Chinese scientists identified a novel coronavirus as the source of the pneumonia. I will pass to the next presenter.
Thank you, previous presenter. My name is Muhammad FAREEZ IKMAL bin AZMAN and my matrix number is A20A1517. So for today, I would like to talk about economic activities. So there are three economic activities that China rely on which contribute to their economic growth, which are services, manufacturing, and agriculture. To begin with, China's services sector has provided for more than 54% of total economic production in 2020. To put this in context, the services industry accounted for slightly more than 44% of GDP in 2010. As an example, a healthy services sector in China indicates the healthy domestic consumption and rises in per capita income, allowing the Chinese people to obtain the ability to afford their own output. Next, China's manufacturing and industrial sectors accounted for over 38% of the country's GDP in 2020. China exports a wide range of items across the world, especially to the United States. China's biggest export as of the end of 2020 included machinery, electrical equipment, and also furniture. At this time, China is the world's largest vehicle producer and boasts a robust automobile manufacturing business. China has manufactured more than 12.8 million of vehicles as of September 2021, compared to 8.5 million in the United States years to date. Lastly, agriculture is China's third largest industry, contributing for 7.5% of total production measured by GDP as of the end of 2020. The GDP share is down from 8.94% in 2013. Although the proportion is lower than that of emerging countries in Africa and Latin America, it is greater than the United States, which has a 92% share of GDP, and the European countries, which has 1.51%. China also produces 69% of the world's nectarines and by peaches, and by 2020, it will be one of the top countries in consuming peanut, rice, and wheat output.
Thank you to previous presenter. I will continue by explaining the impact of COVID-19 to economic growth. Consumption-wise, This pandemic began prior to the Spring Festival and is already having a significant negative impact on consumer spending. Spring event, China's most important traditional festival, is one of the business season for consumption. National retail and catering industry generate more than RM1 trillion in sales during the golden week of the 2019 Spring Festival. However, as a result of the outbreak, consumption during the 2020 Spring Festival has decreased significantly in terms of investment. As a result of the outbreak, several businesses have been unable to begin production on time and have been forced to cancel production orders, resulting in investment shrinkage. Indeed, the outbreak may serve as a significant motivator for increased investment in a number of large-scale medical infrastructure projects. Finally, import and export trade will continue to level off in 2020 as a result of the outbreak's forced slowing of consumption and investment growth and the execution of the first phase deal in the China-US trade war. On January 31, some countries implemented short-term measures such as evacuation of repatriates, entry restriction, and flight suspensions, resulting in a decline in import and export as well as foreign direct investment (FDI). And I will pass to the next presenter.
Next is the impact of the COVID-19 on the unemployment. Before that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is NATASHA NABILA binti NIZAM. My metric number is A20A1580. Next, I would like to continue my present. So, during the 2008 financial crisis, more than 20 million people in China were laid off, with the official unemployment rate peaking at 4.7% in 2009. Since then, official unemployment in China has remained stable, hovering around 4.6% until 2015 and reaching a decade low of nearly 4.2% in 2018. So, the impact of the unemployment in China is increased investment in its social policies. Since 2018 since 2008 financial crisis, the funding for its unemployment claims program has nearly tripled to 82.37 billion. Next, for the unemployment is many businesses also had to close because some industry have now reopened. China's economy is still far from operating at full capacity. Next, the impact of the unemployment is there was no increase in the number of unemployed receiving benefits. So, to make matters worse, there are only officially reports and do not include rural foreign workers. In fact, a million have worked without a contract, worked without paying their unemployment insurance, or did not work long to collect, leaving them with the access to unemployment insurance. So those who receive unemployment checks are sent less than the minimum wage each month, leaving many unable to pay rent.
5.0 Impact of COVID-19 to the inflation rate. COVID-19 is becoming more prevalent by the day. This has a significant impact on the rate of inflation. To give an example, inflation in China reached its highest level in more than a year. Firstly, coronavirus fueled demand for consumer goods while also causing commercial activity in some areas of the country to halt completely. Next, as a result of the influence of COVID-19, gasoline and diesel prices increased by more than 30%. Next, rising inflationary pressure in the economy are also causing global concern. This because rising producer inflation is fueling upward pressure on global inflation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is IZANSAZALIN binti OTHMAN with my number matric A20, A17 and 45. I will give an explanation about impact of COVID-19 to the economic activities. The impact of COVID-19 to the economic activity is the China agriculture export plummeted during the COVID-19 outbreak. China's export fell by 11.6% year-on-year in January and February, according to figures from the General Administration of Customs. Various short-term difficulty began to emerge in the agriculture export supply chain. Many companies that produce export commodities stay closed because employees were unable to come to work. Some export companies claimed loss of up to 30% due to a lack of personnel showing up to work. Furthermore, transportation management raises shipping costs. According to a survey of agriculture export companies, logistical fees have increased for 69.9% of respondents. Furthermore, the domestic port efficiency has decreased, resulting in a reduction in transportation capacity. Next, we move to downtime for a labor-intensive manufacturing firm. During the Spring Festival holidays, the month of January and February are typically downtime for a labor-intensive manufacturing firms. Due to the pandemic, however, this year is different as many factory first holidays have been extended until March or even later. This year is also different in that the Spring Festival fell earlier than in prior years. Thus, many people began their journey home in early January. As a result, the outbreak will impair at least the first quarter production plans of this labor-intensive business, posing a threat to the entire year's production and sales. Because of China's critical role as the world factory, a prolonged outbreak will cause the domestic manufacturing industry to stagnate, and this stagnation will have a significant impact on the procurement need of upstream business in international industrial chains, as well as the supply of downstream business. The last impact of COVID-19 to the economic activities is construction, manufacturing and services are industry affected by the spread of this global pandemic, which are similar to the industry most affected by the domestic pandemic in China. This finding could be explained by the fact that the fundamental nature of industry may influence the amount to which the pandemic affect them. Construction, for example, is a labor-intensive industry that is vulnerable to shutdown and labor shortage. So, construction industry regions will be severely harmed. Lockdown and quarantine to slow dampen consumption of offline services like accommodation and food service, making it the pandemic directly affected industry. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and greetings to Doctor. My name is FARAHNAJIHah binti FAUZI. My order number is A20A1334. I will be the representative of the group to present about the economics policy implementation. It was divided into two policies. Firstly, it was fiscal policy. There are renminbi 4.9 trillion, synonymous with 4.7 of GDP, and renminbi 4.2 trillion will be focused on through the COVID-19 outbreak. For the next point, essential measures are being taken by the government of China. The first step was focusing on the manufacturing of the medical equipment. It was known as the most crucial part to make sure the infection could be stopped. And as renminbi 900 billion applied on the tax reduction by the roadway, port facilities and much more. Next, for the monetary policies, the People's Bank of China taking a role as a support system by overturning the repos and medium-term credit lines by the institution of banking. For the next point, the government of China is taking the precaution steps and focusing on the agriculture sector by providing aid on bursary credit to SME and business and the households. Next, for the conclusion, as we know, throughout the worldwide are being affected by COVID-19 by the 2 years. In addition, by only e-commerce, China has successfully been recognized as the highest in the chart since 2013. The impact was the success that they had also had been badly impacted. Followed by, to summarize the case study, the employment rate from 5.2% to 5.9% will increase through the year. There is a possibility that employees from conservative areas cannot be reached and recorded also. For the inflation rate, it was 1.5% to 2.3%. This amount is differentiated in just only 1 month. There are a lot of gaps and big burdens to struggles for the employees and the employers. To summarize, China does try really hard to play its role to make sure it can regain the stability of its economy throughout the endemic that had been faced nearly 2 years. That's all from us. Thank you, Doctor, for spending your time and attention for watching our video presentation. The biggest gratitude, and thank you, Doctor.